Hey everyone, and welcome back to Token Talk. Now today I want to talk about ICP, so let's go on ahead and talk some tokens. Starting out, I wanted to take a look at crypto bubbles just so we can kind of get some context of what the wider market is looking like. And so far what we can see is that I would say this is kind of a net red day overall. Obviously Eigen is kind of a little bit of an exception here. It's had a pretty good day overall, but everything else kind of within the wider market is seeing a pullback. One of the more notable ones is we have seen Sui do actually really quite well over the past couple days. And so, starting to see this come back, actually leading, I would say, the group in terms of pullback is a little bit surprising because Sui's kind of been the one that's been relatively overall outperforming everything in the market. So that's a little bit interesting to see. If we go and look at ICP, we can see, it's only down 1.5% today. Pretty good compared to some of the other things that we're seeing. But if we go back and look at the chart, we can see that they are down almost 20% from kind of the recent highs that we saw, not even 2 weeks ago. So obviously, things aren't looking great. I have seen, some comments kind of expressing a little bit of concern or maybe even like discontent with ICP, mainly just because meme coins have done really, really well and ICP hasn't. This is something that we may talk about a little bit in the future potentially. But overall, usually when we see a price pullback like this means one of two things usually. One, something with the project has fundamentally changed and gotten worse, and so obviously price is adjusting accordingly to reflect that. The second thing is there's widespread fear in the market, and this price adjustment really is not indicative of a value adjustment in the project, right? And so I figured the best way to kind of do a quick determination of this would be to look at the ICP dashboard. And what we can see here in the ICP dashboard overall is kind of just a wholesale list of things looking really positive, other than, maybe one thing that I would say potentially gives the ICP critics, this is probably the like one main complaint that I would say has a level of merit to it. And so let's kind of go down through the list and see what we're looking at. So overall, total ICP canister state over the past year has, I think, over double, not quite doubled. It's up about 50 or 60%. Really done, quite well, especially recently. Probably about, since about the middle of August, we've seen a pretty substantial and meaningful increase in canister state, which is good. We also can see, internet identities. We've seen that consistently rise, which has been really good. Obviously, a good and healthy growing ecosystem needs users and internet identities. And so this is something that is good to see. Here is kind of the one piece that I do think gives some ICP critics some kind of legitimacy or some validity in their claims. We are seeing a continually inflating ICP supply. This obviously isn't awesome to see, right? I mean, this is kind of I would say the critics' main point as to why ICP price really can't make any sort of meaningful gains is because there's so much VC and early investor involvement, and there's so much essentially like inflation in the supply that all of these early investors essentially sell any sort of momentum that we get, and so we can never really see any sort of like truly meaningful run up in the chart. I think that concern is maybe a little bit overblown, but of course there's some validity there, right? I mean, there's going to be extra selling pressure as these token unlocks happen, and the continually increasing supply means that the price has to go up to maintain the same market cap as we've covered before. So, this is kind of the main thing that I would say the ICP critics do have, kind of in their court as far as legitimate claims towards some possible future price issues with ICP. However, that's pretty much it, right? If we look at ICP transactions, we've over doubled in the past year, which, is really, really great to see. Obviously, we've seen a very consistent and even increasing rise a little bit here lately, which is good to see. We also can see this is kind of what a lot of the ICP holders like to kind of hang their hat on is, when after the whole Bob thing came out, we can see that the number of ICP burned has over doubled, or I guess just shy of doubled at this point. Really, really promising, overall. This is something that, if we kind of continue to see this trend, I think this is something that is really going to be bullish for the ICP ecosystem in the long run. I'm not sure if we will continue to see this kind of trend, but this does look really, really good. And this is something that I think is kind of a little bit of a validation of the value and the activity and the volume kind of coming onto the ICP network. The other thing I want to show is looking at canisters. We can see over the past year, we've over doubled the canisters on ICP, which is great. That means more stuff is being deployed on ICP. The network as a whole is becoming more valuable, which is obviously really, really good. The other thing we can see, transactions have gone up. I think this is what, 4x almost. I guess at recent highs is close to 4x, which is really good. So, that's something that's really nice to see. If we look at cycle burn rate, this is another thing that ICP holders really like to hang their hat on, and for good reason, right? I mean, before we saw these recent spikes, we're sitting at like 13, 14 billion cycles. Not too bad. Here we went up to like 2 trillion. This is when, the Bob meme coin on ICP first came out. And then even now, though, I mean, we're still sitting at, I think it's like 150 is the most recent. Yeah, 150. So, I mean, that's still above 10x where we were previously. So this is some really nice growth that we've seen. If we can continue to kind of hold this 10x level above where we were, I would say that is a good thing for the ecosystem overall. It's hard to track total node machines, but ever since I've started tracking this, I think we're up close to about 100 nodes. So again, this is a good thing as well. A continually growing network where we're seeing essentially just growth everywhere across the board. I think that that looks really, really good. So overall, usually when we start to see some kind of price moving differently than the value of the ecosystem, I usually like to try and call this out and kind of bring this to the viewers, just so you guys can kind of maybe be a little bit reassured as far as kind of your holdings if you have ICP, or if you're looking to buy ICP, maybe this is potentially a good dip, because if you feel like the value of the infrastructure and the network has actually only gone up over the past 2 weeks, but the price has gone down by 20%, that obviously to me sounds like it's a deal. Obviously, this is not financial advice. You need to make your own decisions and kind of determine what's best for you. But that's something that could potentially be something to look at overall, if that is something that you're looking to, whether increase your ICP position, add to it, start one, whatever. So anyway, hopefully the information you found in this video was useful. If you did, please do give us a like and subscribe. It really does help us out. Also, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, please feel free to drop in the comment section. I do try to read and respond to all the comments. So if you have anything like that you want me to see and whatnot, just let me know and leave me a comment. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.